It's been a super intense NBA Finals so far, with major injuries taking over the headlines before Game 3. With the announcement of KP's injury and absence, all eyes were on Boston to see how they'd adjust without Porzingis, despite having already defended home court. So, after taking a 2-0 lead, the Celtics offense adjusted yet again to give them now a commanding edge in the series, even without their unicorn. Boston's offense during this series has looked almost effortless at times, being able to generate open shots by attacking Luka on defense with exceptional 5-out spacing. But in Game 3, the Mavericks opened the game by loading up on Boston's driving gaps. Gafford is slid to the middle of the lane, and that means PJ Washington is responsible for zoning up the two weak side shooters. The goal of this coverage is to keep a shot blocker closer to the basket and discourage Boston from attacking Dallas's slower footed defenders. And in the first half, this defensive coverage really bothered the Celtics. Gafford pre-rotates to the side of the ball and then camps in the paint when the ball swings back middle. The rotations here are key for Dallas's approach, and they get another solid contest. Having Lively closer to the basket also means he can cover up mistakes. The Mavs leave Jrue Holiday open here, but Lively is there to recover, but then this poor closeout from Kyrie is what collapses the defense, and let's just say it was a cold shooting night for the Celtics to start this game. The Mavericks jumped out to a huge first quarter lead because of this. Watch Lively communicate to Hardy to zone up the weak side shooters so he can provide help to Kyrie on defense. But notice how nobody moves for Boston, which fails to collapse the defense, and it's a turnover. In the middle of the floor, Dallas would play up into the driving gaps to help out on dribble penetration, while also being in the way of the direct pass to the wing or to the corner. This is the same strategy the Miami Heat have previously employed on Boston in the playoff matchups and were able to exploit because Boston's creators aren't fully comfortable handling the ball in traffic nor making complex playmaking reads. And going back to this play, Dallas wants Boston to settle for these isolation threes because that means they aren't blown by Luka and collapsing the help defense. Remember, defense and coaching is about what you are and are not willing to give up. So even though the Celtics can make these tough shots, they are still tough shots and don't provide a greater return than open threes and layups do. Now, we'll get to Mazzulla's adjustment to this in a second, but this same approach of forcing the opponent into the tough shots you want them to take is exactly what helped Boston sustain Dallas's early game run. Boston doesn't have many weak points on defense, so Kyrie and Luka often look to go at their unproven defenders to see if they could find a crack in the armor. Xavier Tillman got minutes for the first time in this series, and right out the gate, Luka looks to attack him one-on-one, but he moves his feet very well and is able to block him at the rim. Remember, Boston's strategy was to play Luka and Kyrie straight up in these situations, taking away both the lob threat and role players, while forcing the stars to make tough shots. And while Luka and Kyrie certainly did that last night, none of their shots looked easy. This time Luka gets Horford on a switch, but he doesn't actually get by him, so he has to settle for a contested fadeaway from 12 feet. And this is where Joe Mazzulla deserves a lot of credit, because Luka has been exceptional scoring the ball this entire series, and even last night, Kyrie had his best performance of the finals, yet Mazzulla has stayed firm to his defensive strategy. And so even though Kyrie gets the switch he wants here, Tillman forces Kyrie into 3 different counters and a left-handed floater that falls off. Again, we've seen Kyrie make these exact same shots before, but these are the tough shots Boston will live with as long as the lobs and corner threes are taken away. And getting stops was also huge for Boston because it allowed them to get in transition where they did most of their damage. When Brown forces Kyrie into a tough layup, now he's behind the play, which means his man Jrue Holiday has to be picked up by PJ Washington. And that means PJ's man Al Horford is left open and the old man burns them yet again. So With all the difficult shot making and creative defensive approaches from both teams, it was still only a 1-point Mavs lead at the half. And this brings us to Mazzulla's key adjustments, because remember how Dallas's overloading forced the Celtics into tough shots? Well, Boston adjusted by having one of the weak side shooters, in this case Al Horford, set a flare screen, which means Gafford is responsible for this baseline to baseline rotation. This subtle screen punishes the overhelp because instead of zoning up the two shooters, Kyrie must now be at the level of the screen to defend Tatum, which leaves Holiday open to attack this space and collapse the D. So, the next play down, Boston adds another wrinkle. Instead of Tatum setting a ghost screen, he sets a screen and seal, and when the ball swings back middle, Gafford is so worried about this baseline closeout that Boston is able to find Tatum one-on-one with Kyrie in the post for an easy layup. We've talked about how Joe Mazzulla likes to throw in wrinkles like this against overloading defenses by occupying the help defense with a decoy action on the opposite side. And to start the third, the Celtics were spamming these actions. Tatum's screen and seal on Luka now puts Gafford in a difficult decision. But when Boston clears out to balance the floor, now Kyrie is on an island with Jaylen Brown, and that's what we call barbecue chicken. Boston continued to take advantage of Luka's defensive lapses and were able to create the open shots that weren't there in the first half. It's been a major struggle for Luka to contain the Celtics in space, and this has allowed Boston to simplify their offense a little bit, once Dallas's help defenders were paranoid with the potential decoy actions. Boston isn't known for running a ton of Varejao screens, but this last second flip of the screen catches Luka off guard and allows Jaylen Brown to get downhill and punch it. In the fourth quarter, with the Celtics building a lead as large as 21, the Mavericks would go on a ridiculous 20-2 run in just 5 minutes, and a large reason for that was their defense. Dallas picked up their on-ball intensity, and Boston's poor shot selection and stagnation meant Jason Kidd and the Mavs were once again conceding shots that they were comfortable with. After what might have been a block or a charge, I'm not sure, Luka actually fouled out of this game, which was good for Boston's defense, but now they couldn't actually attack him on offense. So, clinging to a one-possession lead, Boston had Horford set a cross screen for Tatum to run pick and roll with White. Dallas switched, so that means Tatum could seal and post up the smaller Josh Green. With Lively all the way at the three-point line, Holiday can now attack baseline without any shot blocker there. The defense collapses, the ball finds Derek White again, and he hits a huge three to put the Celtics up 2 scores. After the Mavericks score again, Boston looks to run the play again, but this time Kyrie is fronting Tatum at the free throw line to prevent the post-up. So Derek White throws this pass where the opening in the defense is, Tatum finds it and slams it home to put the Celtics up 6. And on their last meaningful offensive possession of the game, JB gets the switch on Tim Hardaway Jr., knocks down his signature mid-range pull-up to give him 30 points on the night and put Boston up 4. Of course, needing a stop on the other end, it's Al Horford that rises to the occasion and forces Kyrie into yet another difficult shot that falls short, and the Celtics prevail in a classic Game 3 and are now 1 win away from championship banner number 18. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've made it to the end, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. Also, be sure to give me a follow on Twitter. It'll be linked in the description box below. And check out my breakdowns from the previous 2 games in this series if you're interested. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.